elsewhere whatsoever. The fact that we will all suffer then as a consequence of pressures on our infrastructure is very, very poor. And I don't believe that we will ever see the phased introduction. I know Glover put it forward yet again, you know, phased introduction of the infrastructure, go as you build. It hasn't happened at any of the big estates that have been introduced in NKDC anywhere. And Greyleys is a prime example of that. I don't see it happening again here. What we do about it, I don't know. You know, NKDC's got its name down for 48,000 houses, and they will give planning permission for 48,000 houses, whether they're going to be built or not.
Can I just ask one more question of Councillor?
Yes.
I mean, this has come down from government, central government, to say this is what you should do. At what point can NK do what they want and go against government policy, which is what they're saying in this document? I mean, that needs addressing at some stage.
Right, so I've got Councillor Jackson and Tony over there.
Yeah, I think you've got to appreciate the angle at which NK come at these things. And the angle that they come at things is that the developments must go ahead. I mean, the classic example was yesterday, at the planning meeting yesterday. They approved the extension of the industrial estate next to the bypass. And one of the conditions that the county council had asked, and everybody was just absolutely dumbstruck that the county council had actually objected to the plan, was that they wanted to see money set aside to improve the transport, and in particular the junction of the 153 with the A17, and they wanted a roundabout in there. And the district's solution to that was to ask for the money after 65% of the development was complete. I tried to persuade people that that figure was far too high, and we actually managed to get it incorporated as an amendment, and the amendment was voted upon, and the amendment was carried for about 5 minutes. And at that point, there was an objection from one of the Conservative councillors who said that the vote wasn't correct. And so we had a re-vote. And lo and behold, instead of being 11-10 in favour of the amendment, it came out at 11-11. And of course, what happened then? The chairman carried it with a casting vote. So 65%, far too high. I mean, if for years before that rounding out gets built, but we need it now. And I fear that, you know, the south development and the west development will be exactly the same. The priority will be to actually get the whole job started and many houses built before they even ask for any 106 money.
Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to really point out to colleagues where we are at the moment. This is something which clearly will run and run. This is for outline plan commission, and in a limited way we approach GO to give some preliminary advice. I've had the advantage of looking at it overnight, of course, and I think there's a lot of valuable material in here which we can use. 106 is often referred to. If you remember at the last meeting, I did comment on the fact it's not simply the developer, and in fact, as they point out here, the houses will be built by many different developers, giving us very good strategic advice about how we pin down the other two agencies, which is North Castillion District Council and Lincolnshire County Council, and they do refer to 106, and they refer to important trigger points which we should be pushing for in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of key moments and points when these other two authorities will have to come up with the goods. And yes, Councillor Chalford, you're absolutely right. There is a bigger picture here. They do refer to that in one of the paragraphs. If you don't mind, I'll read it to you. Technically, an increase in vehicle numbers on both roads may be okay and can be supported by the existing infrastructure. But is the impact acceptable? on the amenities of local residents. Also, should the development provide more than the required minimum? Should Sleaford be aiming for high quality and nice environments, not just settling for the easiest options? These are questions that should be addressed and should be included in your comments to the District Council. So, because there is a lot of valuable advice in here at this particular stage, and I'm sure we'll be going back to Glow for even more detailed comments. But it's important that we lay down at our next meeting and in our written comments to NKDC these major points, so that they're, in a sense, in the context of what we're reasonably asking.
Right. I'll take Councillor Fernandez, and I'm trying to wind it up, and I'll briefly say something as well.
So there's 65 on the development on that thing on 65%. It seems that we are on a downward, and obviously we consider Sleaford to be the lowest denominator you can find. If we can find a cheaper place, they'll probably go there. But as far as I can see, they have no concern for the people of Sleaford or its residents. The residents keep on demanding infrastructure, soft infrastructure especially, but North Sleaford doesn't seem to even relate to it. And I find this really annoying. And we always seem to, every time we get to this, it's always the lowest denominator. I'm wondering when the CIL will be upgraded to the full percent of Lincoln.
Right. Okay. Can I wind this up and remind you that we will have an invite to the chair at the next meeting?
Well, I've asked the Principal Planning Officer to come and spend and answer your questions, and they're all very valid. I think we ought to hold an event until Nick Carlton joins us in the next meeting.
So I hope everybody's formulated all the ideas, and I remind you that it's important outline stage to add a lot of things to what's planned. So, for example, if you wanted to see bungalows, you need to specify it at the outline stage. Otherwise, it'd be up to the developer what sort of house types. And just as one of the examples, if you look on the internet, you'll find a list of things that should be dealt with at the outline stage, and I recommend you all do that. If you Councillor Dolby, then I'll wind it up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have got several things to say, but I'll confine them just to one. I think it ought to be pointed out to Glow. Item 3, the transport assessment also proposes a scheme to formalise on-street parking lay-bys to the east side of the road. The road runs east-west.
South side.
So it's got to be south side.
Thank you very much. Can I close at this point? And we'll have a full discussion, and what we want is the formulated ideas. So if you've got some draft proposals to add to the mix, please bring them to the next meeting. Okay, I'll move on. Item number 7, Coggleford Mill.
Councillor Jackson, Brian, do you want to do? Do you want me to speak?
You'll be brief.
Okay, I'll be brief. Right, last meeting you recollect we talked about Coggleford Mill, went away, did some more research. Councillor Jackson got a response from Land Registry, which I'm not going to circulate, but rest assured it advised us about the role in the process. And since then I've been in touch with the County Council, and the definitive map section outlined, Councillor Jackson kindly did this for me, outlined the council's concerned, and we're awaiting now the forms to make an application for a definitive map order for the LCC to be aware that we feel there's a commonly used route across the site, and using those terms rather the right of way, because it's terminology. So with your agreement, councillors, I will be asking that you delegate to the clerk and Councillor Brian Jackson we make that application, to be clear that we don't get it on as a matter of public record. We've spoken also to the Sleaford Navigational Trust to ascertain their position. Now they're aware of it, and they've been quite clear it's of great interest to them, and they too conducting investigations as to what they will do. So I've spoken with LCC, spoken with NKDC, know what the process is, suggested that we get the definitive map order, modification order in, and then if we need to seek further public support, if I can use that, through other documents and such like, we're at liberty to do that, but need to be clear that get this in first and then follow it up after. Have I summarise that reasonably well, councillors?
I think the only thing I would add is that what we suspected at the last meeting regarding registration of the land, it was registered to Melbourne Holdings in 2004, and the strip of land which forms the bit of the question was registered 2 years later in 2006, and the reason why it was registered to them is because they made an application. It wasn't registered land, they made an application and it registered. The land registry contacted the next door neighbours to see what their reaction was. The next door neighbours happened to be North Stephen, and North Stephen did not make a comment. So therefore they registered the land to them. And unless somebody else can come up with documentary evidence to show that they are more entitled to it, then that can't be changed.
It's fair to say that the council officer was very supportive, and plus the countryside officer of LCC was very supportive, that the corporate body do take this step to make a modification order and to start the process, shall we say.
We've got Councillor Dolby and Councillor Allen.
I've already spoken to Councillor Brand about this. I believe there are two rights of way in Sleaford that have been closed off. First one was the arches under the Sessions House, and the second one is Coggleford Mill. I believe even if they're over private land, they are prescribed rights of way because they've been used for more than 20 years. And I understand it verbally from LCC, to set the wheels in motion, we need a petition of at least 20 people to get this going. And I would like to see the Sessions House arches as well as Coggleford Mill going forward.
Yeah. The latter one isn't on the agenda, but we can place it on a future agenda.
Can I read that rest document? Would you mind, Jim, just to get Councillor? If it insists, I can confirm that the property is subject to rights of way, although the register does not specify details of those rights. Okay, so that's why I've been using terminology around it. So the land registry recognise there are rights of way, but they don't know what they are. So hence the need to go back through another route.
Yeah.
Yes, if you...
He does actually clarify later on that the two rights of way held. One is held by North Stephen District Council in order to give them access to the mill, and the second is held by the Navigation Trust. And those were incorporated early into the when the land was transferred. Well, I'm trying my best to try and find out more from North Stephen, but I don't know who's making decisions.
Right, Councillor Allen.
Can I propose that we do exactly what the clerk asked, and that's to continue to work with Councillors Jackson and Brown to do whatever is necessary to move this along and report back to the committee report.
Councillor Fernandez.
I second this.
Right. Okay. If everybody's happy, can we take a vote now? Councillor Wise in favour.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 hands up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll put the Sessions House onto the next agenda for the request from Councillor Dolby. Okay, we'll get on to the neighbourhood plan. Anything to report today?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not going to make any significant announcements tonight. We are fast approaching the deadline for members of the public to make comments on the enabled area designation. The deadline is actually Monday the 20th. So shortly after that, we should get a nice piece of news from NKDC telling us that the designated area has been accepted. Having a little bit of trouble with working group meetings actually getting everybody together at the same time, and because we're two councils working together, it's important we always, if possible, have representation for both. I'd like to refer you anyway to agenda item 12.1, which is council meeting dates. What I'm hoping we can do is actually move over to evening meetings, which makes it a lot easier for certain members of the working group to attend, and we're hoping we'll be able to fit those in around the revised meeting schedule for the full council. Apart from that, we don't have anything to add at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much. There's no one jumping in. I'll move on. 9.1,